Yes, welcome to another edition of Trivial Debates here on the United Federations of Podcasts. I'm your host for this evening, Jeff Mader, and we have a very special edition of Trivial Debates this evening. We have a Game of Thrones edition where our contestants will clash over the most iconic moments, characters, lore from Westeros, and beyond. Prepare for fiery arguments, icy comebacks, and a battle of wits as they combat for the Iron Throne of debate supremacy. It's September 1st, 2024. Welcome to our 86th episode of Trivial Debates. Can't believe we are almost at 100. Okay, so this evening, I'd like to introduce our contestants. To my right, we have my brother.
That's right. The Elder.
The Elder. Host of many podcasts here on the United Federations of Podcasts. He is a Trivial Debates veteran, also co-creator.
Yes. With you, actually, Jeff.
So. Yes, with me. Captain of House Mader. He is our very own Dave Mader. So welcome, Dave.
Well, thank you, my brother, and we shall see who will claim the throne today.
Okay, introducing also from the Burlington Bar reaction videos, we have Morgan. How do you say your last name?
Drace.
Morgan Drace. She's a master of reacts. She's a co-host of Watchers in the Bar, the mother of Chicago Dragons. All right, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to fight.
Okay, great. That's what we encourage here on Trivial Debates. Thanks for joining us, Morgan. Also, our final contestant, we have Justin Vaughn. Welcome, Justin. He is a returning champion of our recent cryptozoology episode. I missed that one, but I'm sure it was great. He has stepped up to be our sellsword in Trial by Combat. Raise a glass to Justin Vaughn. I will. All right.
To the cupbearer.
Okay, so I should probably just explain kind of for the audience how this show works. Okay, so we have 6 different categories of trivial debate questions that I will propose to our contestants, and they will have to duke it out based on these questions. Nobody knows each other's answers going into this, so it's a fair fight. So we have the 6 different categories are movies, TV, music, sports, history, and Wildcard. Okay, so let's without further ado, let's get right into it. We're going to start with movies. Okay, here's the question. If you were to pitch a Game of Thrones / Song of Ice and Fire movie to a studio executive, what would you focus on? And we'll start with our first contestant, Dave. Dave,
oh, good.
You're on the clock.
Well, this won't take long. I'll just set it all up. It's what everyone's been wanting from the beginning. It's Aegon's conquest. They tease it in Game of Thrones. They tease it in House of the Dragon. Just get to it already and make a great movie about it, where we're going to set up how Aegon conquered the 7 kingdoms, well, really 6 at the time, and united that continent. As we've learned in the House of the Dragon TV show, a lot of that was precipitated by the vision of the the White Walkers and everything coming down from the north, and how that the realm was going to have to stand together in order to survive that crisis. And so I think that's what we really want to see. I hear that it's in development, but I think a movie is probably the best way to go here, because I don't think there's a ton of story really to tell. I don't think you need a series, and I think it's more suited for the film format. And that's all I got to say about that.
Okay, thank you, Forrest. Okay, let's move over to Morgan. What would you pitch to a studio executive for a Game of Thrones movie? You're on the clock.
Well, the question was, what would I focus on? Now, my pitch is going to be around the love story of the Prince of Dragonflies and Jenny of Oldstones. There's a million songs have been written about it. All the characters are always talking about it. I am saying, what am I focusing on? The only thing a studio executive cares about, what is that? I don't know them. Targaryens. They care about Targaryens, and guess what? This Prince Duncan the Small, he is has a lot of. He's a bridge between the tales of Dunk and Egg in the Game of Thrones show we know. So you would just be like, the audience already knows his father and the Hedge Knight, Sir Duncan the Tall. They've been hanging out with them because this is going to be in a post-Duncan Egg world. And focusing on this executive, number one, securing the cocaine, and then just hammering home the audience will be aware of these characters.
Okay, thank you, Morgan. And if you go over time a little bit, that's totally allowed here.
That dong is quite daunting, though.
It is.
It is.
Okay, go ahead, Justin.
I would like to pitch for you Winter's Howl. Now, Winter's Howl is going to be a dark tale told from the perspective of the dire wolves that belong to the Stark children in the vein of a very gritty, adult-oriented Homeward Bound. What we're going to see is each episode following one of the dire wolves as they navigate through the dangerous, war-torn world of Westeros, seeing it from their perspective, enjoying themes of survival and loyalty and that primal bond that they're forming with the Stark children. Even though you get some of the characters, like Lady, whose life is unfortunately cut short in an inciting incident at the beginning, the depth, the gore, and the emotional tear of this story of the dire wolves of the Stark children is going to draw everyone, including the much rich furry community who has to spend a lot of money on those suits in to see this movie.
Okay, all right. So this is a portion of the debate where you guys get to kind of take down each other's arguments and why yours is better. Okay, so we'll start with Dave, and then you guys can interject at any time though.
All right. Well, this is easy. Okay. I'm not quite sure about the other two options presented here. They're not quite what I was expecting. I think that Homeward Bound, is hilarious. I want to know who's going to do the voiceovers, but I don't know if it's going to make a serious movie. And Sir Duncan the Small, or Prince Duncan the Small, I don't know. That's not something I'm really looking for yet. Like, I guess if you make enough movies, you can get to it, but it's sort of, I don't think it's where you would start. You want to start with Aegon's Conquest. That's like the biggest thing in the history of Westeros, and I think it's more of an obvious choice.
More gore, more violence. Okay, Morgan, what do you say to the other two arguments?
I would say Aegon's Conquest is going to be so tied up in the bickering of who's it. We want to make it a show. We want to make it a movie. I feel like this executive, this Nepo baby that you're pitching, Maxwell Peacock Disney Plus the third, is going to be like, nah, my friend Dave over at I don't know, Tubi says that he has one in development. Like, I feel like it's too loaded. You have to go something. I'm pitching with mine. Ever after Cinderella's story. Bridgerton's hot right now, but mostly, yeah, you can't. And then the wolf thing, Maxwell is like asleep in his pile of cocaine because he's like, dogs. You have dragons and magic, and you're just gonna have some fucking dogs like running around, like sniffing each other. Okay, dogs. And so,
Dogs.
I'm saying you have to kind of get right in the middle. This epic love story that also accumulates in the tragedy of Summerhall, but also you have Easter eggs of Sir Barristan Selmy shows up. There is a rebellion by a Baratheon. There are battles, and then there are people burn alive with wildfire trying to bring back dragons at the end. Within this epic love story that also has a woods witch and her best friend go into court. And then a fish out of water. It has everything.
Okay, Justin, your rebuttal.
Winter's Howl, anthropomorphic dire wolves, one of them at least voiced by Danny DeVito. It's not whatever the heck that boring thing I just listened to was. And we all know that Aegon's War is actually going to be what's going to take place after they finish screwing around with whatever the fuck they're doing with House of Dragon right now. So I think that's already on the table. It's already planned out to be a series, so we might as well leave that on the docket the way it is. Bring me my dire wolves. You can have your giant dragons in the background. You can have your White Walkers. You can have your Freys, your flayed men. You got your Ramsay Bolton out there doing shit that nobody wants to talk about. But all of it is focused through the eyes of these dire wolves that are tearing out throats and mending hearts.
Okay. Any rebuttals from Dave or Morgan?
Yeah, like okay, like it's
I
funny.
would just
but
say, Maxwell, Disney Plus Peacock the Third. My father, they said, don't have a movie with dogs. When you have dragons,
Sounds good to me.
when you
yeah.
have dragons, you don't go to the dogs, you go to the dragons. What are you doing?
Aegon's Conquest is it will work more as a 3-act movie. I don't even know what the end of the Duncan or the Summerhall story would be. What is unless it's just a tragic fire
It
and then
is
they're all dead.
the entire conceit of the Song of Ice and Fire, which is prophecy will bite your prick off every time. Basically, Jenny and her best friend, the Woods Witch, are like, they actually tell them about the prophecy. And that's why, number one, the Mad King has to marry his sister, which is his first, trauma. It is the beginning of everything that ends in Game of Thrones.
Incest and a Cassandra complex.
Okay. I've listened to the arguments. I have to scratch Aegon's Conquest. I think they took you down, Dave, on both sides, on both pitches.
On what? With what?
They made some good points. They said I don't think it would be a movie, and it's already on the docket. And so
They might change it. They might change it to a movie.
I'm interested more in this dog.
Star Trek
movie.
Phase 2 started off as a TV show, and then it became a movie, the motion picture. Jeff, it can happen the other way around.
So for me, it's between Duncan Egg and our Homeward Bound. Would this be an animated feature, Justin, or would it be?
Absolutely not. Have you seen the latest Planet of the Apes movie? Those friggin' monkeys look apes look real.
Okay, so it's going to be kind of like the Lion King type thing.
It's okay. I'll tell you what. It's going to be better than Cats. I'll give you that.
Okay, it'll be better than Cats. Okay, it's tight. It's for me. It's between Morgan and Justin.
Mine has a pop song already that people know. Jenny of Old Stones. You play that in the trailer. It's done.
Furries are so rich, and they will come to this movie.
Okay, all right. I think I'm going to give it to Morgan on this one. I think she made a more compelling argument for the Game of Thrones lore. I think the fans are already going to come for that. It's hard to get everybody to come to the dog movie. So you might get the kids, but then I don't know if it translates.
The first week would be rough. After the reviews come in and you get people saying audiences left after all the gore, then we'd bring in the adults.
Okay.
Well, release the butthole cut.
Oh, well.
And I
gotta talk to Zack Snyder about that.
Release the butthole cut. I might have been like, I can see.
I was close though. I mean, I was interested in the dog movie. I really was.
I would like to see that version. I want to know if the dragons are gonna get voiceovers too, and what
they all have Cockney accents. That's
they all have, right. Okay.
It can't be worse than Cats. You're right. Okay, let's move on to the TV round, and it's a short but sweet question, and it's recasting a Game of Thrones character. Now you can pick any actor, any actress, but you have to pick a character that was already on the TV show. That's ideal. If you have an argument, that would be something different. But
it doesn't have to be, because that's the only way we can recast them.
You're recasting a Game of Thrones character, right? So it's already somebody that's on the show.
Yeah, somebody had to have been on the show, right? Already casted. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Okay. You can make an argument for someone else, but if it really has to be very compelling. Okay, so this time we're gonna start with Morgan. All right, Morgan, take us away. You're on the clock.
Well, we recast him once already, so let's do it for twice times the charm, right?
Yep.
Dario Naharis, right? They didn't know what they were doing with him, but I said, Robert Sheehan, here is the thing about Dario. You need book Dario. Yes, the one that in the picture, one who can peacock in the correct way. You can't teach peacocking. Dario has blue hair. He dresses like a freaking nut. He has bisexual energy. He is a scoundrel. He makes you horny, and also he's about to ruin your life. And everybody around you is like, do not do it, girl, but I get it. I get it, even though he's standing there with his blue hair. I'm saying I have seen Robert Sheehan, at least in Umbrella Academy, peacocking. He can sell it because you need a little bit of a sense of humor, and you can't take yourself too seriously. It is so hard to do, and only few men can do it. And he is one of the only men who can do it. That's who I would cast.
Okay, thank you. Great argument. Okay, Justin, recast a Game of Thrones character. Take it away. You're on the clock.
I do love the manic roguish dream boy energy there. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna recast Walder Frey. No, don't get me wrong, David Bradley, he's a treat, but I want to see the amazing Sir Anthony Hopkins tackle that role. I think that Walder is the exact opposite of Hannibal Lecter in that he is very cunning and he's very evil, but he's so rude and just such an abrasive piece of garbage that I would just love to see what Anthony Hopkins could bring with his energy, and because he's sick of everyone's shit in Hollywood. So I just want to see Anthony Hopkins in that role being a complete and utter bastard and just sitting there completely unaffected as the Red Wedding takes place around.
Okay, thank you, Justin. All right, Dave, recast a Game of Thrones character. Take it away. You're on the clock.
Well, yeah, this was a tough one because I think for the most part they cast pretty good when the show was running and into House of the Dragon. I think most of the choices have been great. But one that always stood out to me as a disappointment was the Mad King himself. Now, we didn't get a ton of that in the show. There was a lot of flashbacks. It was mostly like a guy mumbling on the throne, but it didn't have enough like personification. I think something with a little bit more character would work better. And I think Patrick Stewart from Star Trek: The Next Generation, also known for playing King Richard in the Robin Hood movie, would be a great choice for this. I think he could bring like sort of like that charisma, but also the madness and the insanity and everything else into the Mad King. And if you're going to do a prequel, you could definitely bring him in again, because the guy they got originally was boring, and Patrick Stewart ain't boring.
Okay, thank you, Dave. All right, so again, we're going to go into our debate portion. We have 4 minutes, and this time we will start with Morgan again. So take down the other two arguments, Morgan.
Yeah, a Mad King's easy. He was barely in the show, and we are recasting. We are not rewriting. We're not giving scenes. It would be a cute little Easter egg. People blink and you miss it. You'd be like, oh, that was Picard. Cool. And then, so the harder one, Anthony Hopkins, actually not that hard because I haven't seen that man. That man's acting ain't what it used to be. And also, the character of Walder Frey isn't just unaffected. He is a facade of unaffectedness covering a deep, utter well of insecurity and pettiness because of the years of all the houses laughing at his house. You need an actor to show layers on that character if we're recasting at all. Anthony Hopkins, she ain't got it anymore. I'm sorry. And not in like 2014. that time.
That is a bad take. That is an embarrassing bad take.
I watched, what was it? Hannibal, the show, the movie.
Oh, that's writing. If you're going to give him shitty writing.
I have seen actors elevate amazing,
Sir Anthony Hopkins does not have time for your bullshit writing. If you're not going to give him a good role, he's not going to put in the effort. It's not worth it for him.
It's called acting. Number
it's
one.
Called talent.
It's the talent in acting. You can take anything and put layers into it.
No. That's being a whore for your art.
Anthony
He has
Hopkins,
talent and integrity.
He's tired. Let that man take a nap, man. Like, especially yeah, but Anthony Hopkins is not. He's going to be spoiling everything because he's going to not give a fuck.
Unfortunately, I can only attack your arguments on my argument because I 100% agree with your recasting. I literally can't pick it apart in any way except. God damn it.
I can.
Dave, take down Morgan's recasting of
Robert Sheehan wouldn't have been old enough back then to even play the role.
26, baby, 2014.
He was 26 in 2014?
Mm-hmm. He's 36.
He's 36?
I had to look that up too.
Tight, keeps it tight. Hollywood, try it sometime.
It was confusing enough with the it's the first recasting of Dario Naharis. We don't need to do it again. It's just like it's gonna get us mixed up too much.
I'm assuming we're doing a sliding door timeline where we're actually
Right.
like going back and just the original and forever Dario would be him.
That's right. That is correct.
Anthony Hopkins would not make a better Walter Gray. Let's
All right. Take that down, Dave.
David Bradley was amazing in that role. Like in every scene he was in, I would not trade that in for a second for Anthony Hopkins, who I don't think is a bad actor, and I think like he was really good in Westworld season 1, which kind of is close enough in timeline, but I just don't think that he would suit the role. I don't think his energy, his attitude, nothing would fit in there. Patrick Stewart, I know we're saying we're not rewriting it here, but if he was on the show, come on, like they are going to write some more scenes. We're going to get some better flashbacks. We're going to see some more interesting stuff from the Roberts Rebellion time period. And then you bring, you fully flesh out that story later on. You bring Patrick Stewart back because he gets, he reprises the role, and then you get someone to play the young Jamie, and you get all that together. Oh, it's so good.
So you're arguing deleted scenes, and they're not in the show.
Yeah, and here's the thing with Patrick Stewart, he's got such a reputation that viewers are going to have a hard time seeing him as the Mad King. People are going to see him and they're immediately going to think about Picard and how great he is, and it's going to be difficult for them to accept of him being that.
Just think about it, like crazy old Professor X in Logan, right? Like how he was losing it. Like there's I think he could bring it.
Okay, all right, guys. I think this one was like a slam dunk. Winner was Morgan again, guys. I mean,
but also, oh my gosh, I want to argue the Patrick Stewart now because I'm like, Green Room.
I forgot. I did forget about Green Room.
Next time you're arguing this on the other debate show, just bring up Green Room. I'm just helping everyone.
The thing is, with Anthony Hopkins, all I would see is Odin. I'm like, why is Odin the House of the Twins? Like, what's going on? Like, I don't know. So for me, it was just like I think Morgan had the best choice, but she also argued it the best, and that's what this show is all about. It's about arguments and who comes out on top. So congratulations, Morgan, once again for your arguments. Okay, let's move on over to music. All right, our next question is: all right, all of Westeros and Essos are hosting a music festival. Which one are you attending, and why? Okay, this time we're going to start with Justin. All right, start us off. You have a minute on the clock. All right, go ahead.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in King's Landing for this amazing music festival. Now, King's Landing being the cultural center of Westeros, you're going to get a little bit of everything in there. You're going to have courtly minstrels. You're going to have bardic performances. You're going to have beer wenches and everything you can imagine. Food and wine, drink is all going to be flowing. You're going to have exotic performers from throughout Westeros and across the sea. You're going to get street performers, like troubadours, solos, duets, full groups, whatever passes for a rock band at that time in Westeros. Everything is going to be contained in King's Landing. It's pretty much going to be Burning Man in Westeros. Probably someone will get set on fire. Let's be honest. This is Game of Thrones. I think you're going to come. You're going to have a great time. You're going to get filled with food and wine and beer, and you're probably going to get stabbed, but before that, it's going to be a good time.
There's going to be a lot of food, and that is for sure. Okay, Dave, you are next on the clock.
Okay, well, when I was thinking about your question, Jeff, I was like, well, how do I sort of think about the musical styles of these different regions of Westeros, and how do we sort of like transpose that to, I guess, real life music or genres or styles? And I couldn't help but think about the Iron Islands. That's where they're all sailors out there. Sailors love sea shanties, and they're gonna have some like coastal music vibes here. It's gonna be kind of like going to Newfoundland or Nova Scotia or Ireland and getting sort of like get the fiddles out, get the get the songs and tell the stories and just have a good time. Get some dancing, maybe some bar fights, and have a good old time. And pledge it up to the drowned god, and it's gonna be the wildest party in the Iron Islands by far. So that's where you're headed. We'll talk about the other options after.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Okay, Morgan, which musical festival are you attending and why?
There's only one answer, because I'm not choosing a genre. I'm not choosing a specific region. All of them. But also, all of them, no slavery. Because I was like, I want to go to Essos, but most of the law is slaving. You can't slave. Who is virulently anti-slavery, but also has literally, they're saying, all are welcome in the secret city. I'm talking about Bravos. Even their sword fighters are called water dancers. I'm saying that is a place where people convene. It is a city founded by freed slaves seeking their own freedom. And that is where you have everyone's welcome, everyone's sharing, everyone is making music. You don't have to choose a genre. And also, you're not going to get slaved, which is not on the other places. I don't know. I know it's outlawed, but I don't trust it. I trust Bravos. I love Bravos.
Okay. Thank you, Morgan. Okay, we're going to move on to the debate and rebuttal section. We're going to start with Justin. Take down the other two arguments.
Well, first off, the Iron Islands, you're going to be wet. You're going to be cold. It's going to be inhospitable. Everyone's going to be miserable. The sea shanties are going to be amazing. The whiskey is going to be hard and biting, but you're going to have a miserable time. You're going to get cold. I'm over 40 now. My knees are going to hurt. I'm lazy. Not a big fan of damp locations. Sorry, Eastern Canada. I'm going to avoid the Iron Islands. Plus, they'll have some representatives over in King's Landing anyway. Now, as for Bravos, Bravos is a nice place. Sure, it's run by freed slaves. It is the center of capitalism in that world. So I guess if you want to trade that for another form of slavery that's just the bars and the chains are a little bit less visible, you can go ahead and do that. Plus, Bravos, you got to take a boat to get there. Again, I don't like damp things, so I don't want to go on a boat. King's Landing, you're going to go, you're going to have fun. You're probably going to get stabbed. You may not make it out, but that's always a chance when you get to King's Landing. Sure, you might be a little safer in Bravos, or you might be a little damper, but, heartily enjoying sea shanties in the Iron Islands. But you're going to be comfortable. You're going to be well-fed. You're going to be entertained. And you're going to have a pretty decent time right up until that stabbing in King's Landing.
Okay, Dave, take him down.
Well, I think that his Justin's argument that King's Landing is kind of like the melting pot in New York City doesn't sound too exciting to me. It's like, that almost all the characters in the show that are not from King's Landing, even the ones who are from King's Landing, hate King's Landing. They say it's the smelliest, grossest place ever. It's got all kinds of criminality and issues, and people don't even like going there.
I still go see concerts in Toronto.
Of course. But, people will, whether they like to or not, they'll be headed to the Iron Islands, Jeff, because the Iron Islands does like to, not slaves, but they do take thralls, and they will, get you to that party one way or the other. You might end up as a salt wife, but you're going to enjoy some of those sea shanties. You're going to be singing about the Krakens and what's going out there, pledged to the drowned god. You're going to get it going.
Okay, Morgan, take down these arguments.
I love this rebrand, and we're just rebranding slavery. Hey, I love the gumption. Yeah, when you said the Iron Islands, I just staring women. It's gonna be, I'm not going to the Iron Islands, and especially number one, it's like the weather sucks, but also that their whole thing is reaving and raping. It's in the pitch, baby. Also, if you've ever been to a music festival, you need more than one genre. By day 3, are you going to be able to handle another sea shanty? King's Landing literally has a place called Piss Alley. It is known to just be gross, and you have to stand around, and no public bathrooms. Bravos' infrastructure is very well known to be great because it should be underwater, but it's not. And so we have the infrastructure. King's Landing hasn't been able to get this infrastructure together to keep the shit out of the water. You're going to be shitting yourself to death. You are going to be dipping in piss. And
you are just describing some of the best venues I've ever been to.
I will also argue on your argument of capitalism. I'm like the lesser of two evils because in Bravos, Iron Bank, they're founded by men and women. If you are a sex worker, you do have political power. You do have like agency. You can own your own shit. So it's a nightmare all around. Planetos is in shambles. It's a nightmare. The known Planetos. I'm sure there's somewhere that's nice, but it's a nightmare. I'm saying, women, we've been making it work. It's the best I can do as Bravos.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the arguments. After all of that, I did come to a conclusion of who I thought made the best argument for which music festival they would like to attend, and I think actually I kind of got to the point where I would want to go to, and that is King's Landing. Justin, you win this point. I think that his argument was the best because it is the get the most choice. It's gonna be warm. It's gonna be overall, yes, it's yucky, but that's every city you go to, and I think Justin made that point well, and that's kind of what we look for at a music festival is we want the music. You're in, you're out, and that's kind of how I look at it. So yeah, so that's why Justin wins that point.
Thank you.
Okay.
Boo.
Yeah, Bravos, we are a city and we actually don't smell.
If you're looking for progressive attitudes, this is not the series.
Yeah, no, this is not the one.
George R.R. Martin is one giant rape fantasy.
I would argue that it's also about women within the world making it work, and that's what I'm doing with my that's why I would live in Bravos, because I'm making it work. I agree, and I'm dealing with reality, but I am finding my lane somewhere, and if it has to be with capitalism,
be the change you want to be, baby.
Call me Jeff Bezos.
Bravos might not be a bad choice, actually. But,
Bravos was a good choice, but if I'm just an attendee and I'm in and I'm out, I think I want the best music and the best venue, and I think King's Landing would give me all the cultures at once, whereas Bravos,
that is literally what Bravos is. It's the city where everybody.
Right.
Okay, never mind.
I understand.
I just like fighting.
Okay, that's what the show is all about, so don't be afraid. Okay, we're moving over to sports. Okay, so this one's kind of an interesting question. What Olympic sport would you introduce to Westeros or Essos in the hopes of earning the most gold? Speaking of capitalism. Okay, so we're going to start again with Dave. You're on the clock. Make your argument.
It's easy. I was thinking about who are the best athletes, in this world, and it's got to be the Dothraki. You can see what they can do. Some of the best warriors, and they are amazing on horseback. And what do they do in the Olympics on horseback? The equestrian. And that the Dothraki are bringing home all the golds. Maybe gold, silver, and bronze, and maybe some raids and some other things here. But they're if you're talking about on a horse, it's got to be the Dothraki, Sea, Great Grass Sea, and they're going to win it all. They will. That's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Okay, we will move over to Morgan. Make your argument for what sport you would introduce and what has the best chance of earning the most gold. Okay.
All right, business plan. Let me pitch it. Okay, so the great thing about the Olympics is it's very codified. Everything has rules. Everything is explained down to the equipment and how it works. So I am introducing shooting because no, you think I'm doing an Olympic? I'm not doing an Olympic. I'm arms dealing, baby. Because the great thing about Olympic guns is that they are very simple. Very simple, but they can kill you. We have a 50-meter competition with a rifle. You can use them for murder, but also it's just the first step within the bringing Westeros and Essos into an industrial revolution, maybe. Let's fuck some shit up. Arms dealing. I don't even need any more time.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Morgan. All right, Justin. Same question. What are you introducing?
Okay. Come with me to the harsh, frozen expanse beyond the wall, where the warriors of the free folk gather together for their most sacred of sports, the biathlon. On these rough bone skis, they travel through desolate, ice-covered wilderness and stop at marked intervals to fire their crossbows with dragon glass-tipped bolts at targets resembling White Walkers. Accuracy is key. Survival is paramount, and not only is this a solid Olympic sport, but it is also a trial for the free folk. To see who are their most worthy warriors, their most amazing scouts, and those that will protect the free folk from winter coming.
Okay. All right. Now we move on to our 4-minute debate and rebuttal portion. Dave, go ahead. Why are the other two arguments not as good as yours?
Well, for starters, okay, like there's no shooting in the world of Westeros. They don't have gunpowder, so that's not possible for them to even have that as a sport.
Where are you like learning about the rules and regulations of your sports? This
My
question.
rules and regulations. It's just about mine are just horses jumping over obstacles. That's pretty simple.
Then it's not an Olympic sport. That is a horse jumping over a log, and they have that already.
It is an Olympic sport.
But crossbows exist
No, what
in
makes
the world.
it Olympic sport is the codification. It is the rule. Like the Olympics are about actually codifying, taking a sport. That's why breakdancing should not be in the Olympics, and all the breakdancers were like, "That's insane."
So you can't defend using guns during the Game of Thrones universe. So you're just going to attack codification of a sport. That's not even an argument.
I'm saying that within that codification, they have the schematics of the gun because you can only. They're very specific. They will tell, and so you take that to a. I would, if we're bringing, we're bringing an Olympic sport. It means that we are bringing all of the.
Are you bringing this in a
rules.
TARDIS?
I mean, you can take it up with the person that wrote the question, but anything else, what makes it up with the Olympics is the actual codification. So we need to have all of the things. So that would include how a gun works. And now it might take a second, but I'd find a maester somewhere and an ironworker somewhere. We would at least get a cannon going. This is the first dribble drop in my empire of guns. I'm not going to get there overnight, but I have the schematics for a gun. Revolutionary idea. I'm going to find someone who wants to make some money and fuck some shit up.
Now, culturally, I will agree that you know more about firearms than I do. But I'm still going to reject that reality and replace it with my own.
I think Americans.
Oh, Americans. Okay.
Yes.
Very
Canadian.
You got me there. If it was a Chicago dig, I'm like, that's Indiana. They keep.
No. I work with a bunch of Chicagoans. I value my life.
Okay. Why, Justin, is your pitch going to earn money or gold? Like, how is that going to work?
Oh, who the heck doesn't want watch a bunch of wildlings shoot at White Walker targets? It's going to be great. You're going to get hot chocolate. You're going to get mulled wine. You're going to be out there in your furs, watching this excitement go on, seeing the best of the wildling warriors compete for supremacy.
If
a Meister wants to make me a TV camera, you can broadcast that all over Westeros.
There's no
it's
evidence.
Get more viewership than
but so now we have TV
over here.
There's no evidence
TVs
to suggest
now?
that they even have skis in this world either.
Oh, they're made from bone tusks. What else would you make?
But they haven't invented that technology.
You'd have what skis, because there are regulations on what skis are allowed and what skis aren't, and you would have to have the regulations. If we are
and they'll say, "What's a ski? We haven't invented skis yet."
I guarantee you that a culture living in the tundra has invented some form of ski.
They have snowshoes.
I will guarantee you that. From a social and anthropological standpoint, they have definitely invented.
They definitely know how to ride horses, and they can definitely make the horse jump over a thing.
How are you going to convince Dothraki to follow any rules? And what makes it Olympics is the actual following of the rules.
You're going to hop off their horse and rape the audience.
Yeah. And like, where's the profit there? And also, are you going to bring them to Westeros? Yes, what Westeros is dying for, a Dothraki horde to come over and do anything. You would be very popular, I'm sure.
And that's not prejudice. That's just their culture.
Well, they'll have a hard time getting over the sea, but it's they'll do it.
Is the obstacle the sea, Dave, with the Dothraki?
Well, that's just getting the team there. That's like but they're afraid of the salt water and all that. But
right. Oh man, this is tough. I don't know who to pick.
I was focusing on making money. I have a business plan, and I have a 5-year plan on how to because you start with the schematics and then you go from there. Theirs just seems to be like sell tickets.
So
I'm
your plan
doing an
is more.
I'm doing an
This
industrial
is actually a
revolution.
sales demonstration for you. Then.
Yeah, I'm doing like guns, germs, and steel over here. I don't know. I'm thinking big. I'm thinking profits. I'm thinking guns.
I will say, Morgan, you were the only one that really focused on that, and that was the crux of the question. And that was the one thing. Like if David chose fencing or something different with horses that was a little bit more violent, I think it would have had a higher interest of winning this question. But just jumping over obstacles, I don't think the citizens of Westeros would go for that.
They're gonna go for it. They're gonna like all the pony shows, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna make all of it.
They watch for fun. Men bash each other's faces in for no reason. That's what's exciting. And then you're gonna have a horse jump over a log.
They're gonna jump over it.
I didn't expect to pick Morgan for this question again because I thought her question would be taken down for the fact there's no guns in Westeros. But I have to give this point to Morgan because she did answer the question the best out of the three of you. So Morgan,
honest,
again,
I
you
did
win
miss-
this point.
I did
What
miss the
makes an
capitalism
Olympics
angle on
is-
that question.
I mean, I'm American. We just can't escape it. It's a nightmare.
You'll find a way to squeeze a nickel to earn a.
I don't love it, but it's rise and grind, baby. All day,
If
every
only
day.
I were American, I might have got the point.
Yeah, if only, yeah.
Guns.
Guns.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the history portion of the debate. Okay. So this question was also a little bit more difficult. So if you guys have a different interpretation, I understand. What filming location brought the most historical credibility to the show? So you can kind of talk about it from multiple angles. You can talk about it from like how it best suits the books or how you think it best suits, the historical relevance of the show. It's free game. Okay, so I guess we're going to start with Morgan this time. Go ahead, Morgan. You're on the clock.
All right, I know it wasn't the greatest highlight of the show, but Karth was filmed, parts of it, the garden party and the House of the Undying on this one island, Lokrum Island, Croatia, and that is an island that has a history of being cursed by a religious sect doing maligned curses, also a highborn's party place. So those two things existing in the same place, and much like Dany at that garden party where she's dazzled by the riches of Karth that are actually all bullshit, I've actually been to this island. I saw a little child had her pet rabbit and released the rabbit to play with the wild rabbits while a bunch of wild peacocks frolicked, and people are having like picnics while these peacocks and rabbits are like hanging out with each other. And I'm like, what is this place? This place is magical and amazing. But then you also anyway, it is cursed also. History of cursing highborns mixed with magic and wonder, much like Karth. There are warlocks and parties.
Okay, cool. All right, Justin, you have been on the clock. All right, go ahead.
All right. So I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce this, but it's the Demugbergir lava field, which was the setting for Mance Raiders camp. I think this is one of the settings in the show that I thought brought the most authenticity to everything. I think the desolation and the geological significance of the area, coupled with the sharp volcanic rock, and like it really looked like a super harsh, desolate climate, someplace where, beyond the wall, that's what I pictured. It's got a cultural resonance with the whole Nordic connections. It also has some mythical connections because the name of the lava field actually translates into English as Dark Castles, and it is steeped in folklore as a place where our world and the underworld are connected, which is sort of exactly what the North is.
Wait.
Okay, great. Great answer, Justin. All right, moving on to Dave. You have a minute on the clock. Go ahead.
Where is Justin's place located?
Oh, Iceland. Sorry.
It's in Iceland.
But I chose Iceland.
But different location of
Chris
Iceland.
Murphy.
Yeah, well, you chose a general location of Iceland. He chose a more specific one, so
Bullshit. You can't do that.
I mean, I gave the questions to Jeff. He didn't raise any red flags.
No, I've been to Iceland, and they filmed all over Iceland.
Oh, so
many,
I
many
didn't
different
pick
spots.
a specific location. So do
Sure.
I
That
just
was the
forfeit
question.
round now.
I can give you a spot in Iceland if you want.
Sure.
All right.
Yes.
I will give you the Kirkjuvel, where the mountain is. I've been there. So,
That.
okay, argue.
It's where the mountain was.
Yes, that's it.
And pretty cool. I was gonna pick Iceland in general.
Okay.
This is bullshit, Chris Murphy. Yeah, you know, this is your whole role is to make sure there's no doubling of answers here.
It seemed like a technicality.
It is. It's very technical. It's so I was picking Iceland because it's so wild, so untamed. The night is dark and full of terrors, and if you want to really portray the land beyond the wall, what could be better than Iceland or that specific place that Jeff mentions, where he went to?
This place right here.
I
Where
knew
there is
that
a real
Jeff-
mountain.
I knew Jeff had gone to Iceland. I knew that I was playing to the host, and that this was what was going to get me at least one round. But now it's been stolen from me.
Stay mouse.
I feel bad.
Okay, Morgan.
I feel bad because it's too easy because I prepared for this. Iceland. You mostly are arguing geography, not history. The topic is history and the history of Iceland. Oh wow! When we think of Iceland, we think of the most warmongering people in the world, right? No, Iceland is historically now. There are people who didn't want to bend the knee. You got me there. But where did they go to Iceland? To form the first
I'm
parliament.
not entirely sure that
One
your
of
grasp on Icelandic history is very good.
I'm talking about politically of like Westeros humans, not
Think
mythology.
you're talking out of your butt is what you're doing.
I'm talking about history. So they formed one of the earliest parliaments and then have been cooperating with each other ever since. You never hear about Iceland jumping over the border causing a ruckus. I've never heard that. In fact, Guinness Book of World Records has them listed as the country most at peace. They are historically peaceful. And that does not sound like wildlings. They are historically cooperative. That does not sound like wildlings. Mance Rayder was the only one to get them to talk to each other, and that was epic news. That was like crazy. They're like, oh no, Mance Rayder got them to even talk to each other without stabbing. That is not historically. We aren't doing folklore. We're doing history.
I would argue
humans.
that folklore is a very key part of history.
It
And
can inform
that-
history.
Culturally, and not significant. I think that with the North, its attachment to magic, it's being the place where magic is coming back from, and the deep mythological history of the Icelandic people and the Nordic peoples that they birthed from, which were extremely warring nations. So there is a significant historical background there, just not on that particular island. So I'm still going to go with Iceland. It's the better place. It looks better, especially the lava field. I love my lava field. Bring me to the lava
Geography,
field.
not history.
No,
the whole
it's
thing is
Geography.
with this-
It's looked that way for all of history.
This whole
End of argument,
question is
mic drop.
It's kind of silly because, of course, Westeros is not a real place and doesn't actually have any historical thing at all. But it's based
Right.
kind of on Earth and kind of on the Middle Ages, and it takes from a whole bunch of different human cultures and places and sceneries and things. And I think that that Iceland, definitely had Vikings and raiders and whatever. And so, there's definitely some part of Westeros or the world of Song of Ice and Fire that kind of corresponds to Iceland, at least at some point in its history. But
that's where they would go to cooperate with each other.
Okay, Justin and Dave, since they're kind of arguing together, why is Morgan's example of Croatian island, why is that not as good? Or, what's your argument against her?
I don't like peacocks. Birds freak me out.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like, what's the question? Historically accurate? Like, it's
Credibility. Like,
credibility. Like, I don't know. It's just a town with some nice orange roofs, and that's why they picked it to be King's Landing. So I guess that's why.
Oh no, this was Locrum Island, and it was specifically the garden party where Dany is showing up, and she is dazzled by the sights around her and the gold. The Dothraki are like looking at all the gold statues, and then also the House of the Undying where the warlocks are. The Byzantine monks, very Carthian wizard coded, and then also Maximilian. Some highborn who tried to be a emperor over in Mexico till they shot him to death, which was awesome. Did a party palace there, and there's like there's a myth that everyone who's ever tried to like claim that island has been cursed. So it is a amazingly beautiful, dazzling place with like dark connotations if you fuck with it.
It sounds nice and it looks pretty, but I honestly thought all of those scenes were shot on a soundstage.
okay, that was a nice rebuttal right at the end, Justin. Okay, for this, I know the question wasn't the best, but I'm glad you guys went with it and you tried your best. For Dave, you're out.
What? I've been screwed this whole episode. This has been the ultimate.
I'm worried about that bat left, to be honest with you.
So
Yeah.
it to me, okay, but like Dave, like both Justin and Morgan both picked specific examples within the show and said this is why this location worked for that part of that show. You didn't give me anything on that.
I would have given you more if I knew you were going to let two Icelandic answers come into this round, Jeff.
So for me, it came down between Justin and Morgan. And while Morgan did very, very well at the beginning of explaining, like she had been there, she had heard the stories of the place and how it related to the Karth. I thought Justin had some great rebuttals to Morgan. So I have to give this point to Justin because I think he argued well for himself and he was able to counter Morgan the best out of anybody else countering him. So Justin, you get the point.
Well thought.
Well fought. Okay, we're moving over
Even
to
you, Dave.
Wildcard. The wildcard question. It can be anything. Okay, so this is the question I came up with. You have won the lottery. Congratulations. You must choose a Game of Thrones character to be your master of coin. Who do you trust? Okay, and I think we are starting with Justin this time. Justin, go ahead.
Ooh, okay. I think that the obvious answer would be Peter Baelish, but I don't trust him as far as I could throw him. So my answer is going to be Tyrion Lannister. Tyrion, my boy, is just an amazing character throughout the books and the show. I think he's one of the only characters that I actually enjoyed their arc throughout the entire thing. I know that as long as I respected his opinions, showed him respect, got him, a nice couple of witty, good-looking hookers, made sure he had the best wine available to him, Tyrion would do well by me so long as I didn't fuck with him. And I trust that. I would be respectful to that little guy, and I would take full advantage of the large amount of talent in that tiny little package.
Okay, thank you, Justin. Great answer. Okay, moving over to Dave. Dave, who are you trusting to be your master of coin?
I'm picking the man that the king at the end picked. I'm picking Sir Bronn of the Blackwater, as played by Jerome Flynn. He of course becomes the new, Lord of Highgarden by the end. He becomes the Master of Coin on the new Small Council, and there's a good reason. You can always trust Sir Bronn the Blackwater because as long as you pay him, he'll be loyal and he'll always be reliable there. And he understands money very well. If anything, that's what he only prioritizes over everything else. And he'll make sure that you have fiscal responsibility baked right into the realm right from the beginning. He's reliable. He was a sellsword that built an empire, and no one understands capitalism like Sir Bronn does.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Okay, moving over to Morgan. Okay, so you won the lottery. Who are you trusting? Speaking of capitalism.
mean, there's only one answer because men are fallible. They have their own wants, needs, and motivations. I am trusting in an institution. Come on, there's only one answer, the Iron Bank of Bravos, because they have the same philosophy that the mother herself, Beyonce Knowles, has. If you hurt me, you hurt yourself. You give them the money and be like, you get 20% of whatever you grow, baby. And they're gonna just make it go, make the number go up, because they've been around for years and they don't have like petty squabbles. They're just steady and your money will just slowly grow. And also, Bravos does not fuck around with slavery. So while I'm going to capitalism, I'm not going to capitalism that hard, so I know that the investments will stay out of slavery at least. A lot of other rotted shit will get funded, but hey, it's Westeros, baby. What am I supposed to do? Also, there's women up in there in the Iron Bank, so they would listen to me as well.
Okay, great argument. Okay, Justin, give us your rebuttal to both Bronn and the Iron Bank.
Okay, for one, I would argue that the Iron Bank itself is not a character. But if we're going to consider it a character, you have to remember that the Iron Bank has other customers, so your business is not going to be their only concern. Their loyalties will be divided. Bronn can be bought. That's been shown and proven. Tyrion, if treated well, has the experience as Master of the Coin, has long-term vision, has loyalty to those that he values and values him. He has considerable diplomatic skills. He is intelligent and resourceful. He has significant ethics, which is unheard of for a Lannister. And in contrast, Sir Bronn, skilled fighter and a shrewd negotiator, but again, his loyalty is contingent on payment, and his expertise does lie more in combat than in finance, even though he does get named at the end. The Iron Bank of Bravos is powerful and reliable in terms of their banking, I guess. But again, you're not their only concern. Their ultimate concern is to how much money they have. So they're always not going to be looking out for your best interests. They're going to be looking out for your best interests as they relate to theirs. So Tyrion offers a unique combination of intelligence, loyalty, and ethics that I would want as my power of attorney.
Okay, Dave?
Well, I agree with Justin that the Iron Bank as an institution is a little difficult.
We can say the guy that showed up.
The guy who was
Sherlock's brother.
Holmes' brother. Okay.
Yeah. I'll choose him.
I don't know, like putting all of your money offshore in another country seems risky. Especially if Bravos gets attacked or sacked or anything else. I think that's it's not necessarily the best move. They do deal with other slave-owning cities over there in Bravos too. I like to mention, even though they don't do it themselves, they're all buddy with Lys and the rest of them. And
no, they don't allow slaving at all. No slavers are allowed.
Westeros, it's actually outlawed in Westeros. Not so much
in Bravos too. It's kind of its whole thing.
Well, Bravos. Yeah, okay, it's the one exception, but but that's beside the point.
Dave, why do you trust Bronn?
You want someone nearby. You don't want somebody across the sea.
Why Bronn?
Bronn, he's the best. He's the most reliable. He's the most straightforward. He's can be bought, but you just won the lottery. You can definitely buy him. And keep him loyal to you. It's as long as you can pay more. And you saw with Tyrion that he was always willing to stay loyal to Tyrion if he would at least match the price. As for Tyrion, he's going to drink away all the profits. He's too much of a lush. He gets on that wine, glug, 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 and he's going to be not so good with the books anymore. He'll be crying over, his dad doesn't love him, and Shay did a bunch of stuff to him, and he's all mopey. And then, he's talked about his ethics. Like, how long did it take him to stand up to Daenerys before, kind of at the end, he kind of does a little bit, but it basically does nothing. No, you don't want him running things. You want Bronn.
A sellsword.
A sellsword. He's reliable. He's reliable.
That is not loyalty. If you think that's loyalty, you are in for a bad time in life, my friend. If you have to pay an employee for their loyalty, that is not loyalty. That is a transaction.
That's what you want from a master of coin, because they'll do it. They're not doing it for oath. They're doing it for the money. They're doing it for the coins.
Now, my power of attorney, my personal power of attorney, I need to be able to trust them implicitly.
You can trust Bronn as long as you have.
No, I can only trust Bronn so long as I'm flush with coin. What happens if I make a bad choice one night?
Well,
I'm out
he won't let you.
I'm out in the Iron Islands. I'm listening to some sea shanties. I suddenly
gonna-
find myself as a salt wife, and I've been robbed of all my riches.
He's going to be.
Bron's gonna be like, "Fuck you, buddy."
responsible.
Tyrion, all the way.
Okay. All right. Great arguments, guys.
Was I supposed to jump in that?
You
I
can.
thought-
Do you have a
because
rebuttal?
I didn't know. Well, I didn't actually do a. I don't think I did a rebuttal at all.
Yeah, go ahead.
Was I
Alright.
supposed to be in
Well,
that? Sorry.
It's all good. We'll give you a
Okay, because
minute.
I'm like, I have my arguments that, oh wow, I have a bunch of money, but not all the money. I won the lottery. Why do people who win the lottery go broke within a year? You got this nest egg, right? You got a cash. You're not the richest. So I'm gonna give that to a deeply traumatized man with a drinking problem. Or a sellsword whose one most famous scenes was when Lysa Arryn was like, you have no honor. And he was like, bet. He did.
He did.
He
and
has
he's
it's
dead.
saying, I have no honor. And then also Tyrion needed his trial by combat. Somebody's going to show up with a highborn wife for him. He'll sell you out in a second. Like, part of Bron's whole character is that he will sell you out. He has no honor because that's how you live in Westeros. I need my Iron Bank person. They know if they lose my money, well, they lose their money. If they grow my money, they grow their money. Again, when you hurt me, you hurt yourself. Don't hurt yourself. The
Until
mother
you
Beyonce
show up
knows.
and they're saying, "I'm sorry, Ms. Drace, we can't find your account
Nope,
information."
they're all about reputation. Iron Bank is nothing without their reputation, and if you malign their reputation, it's over. So I would be the biggest cheerleader. I'd be like, hey, rich widows, you need someone to treat you right? Put your money over here. And I'd be very loud about it, that all my money's at the Iron Bank, so that if I ever went broke, they'd be like, well, she put her money in the Iron Bank and she went broke. Again, mutual benefit, mutual assured destruction.
I have a question about the Iron Bank. Because all right. Say
Yes.
I live in Westeros. Say I live in the
Mhm.
Erie, and I've won the lottery. All
Mhm.
right, and I give all my money to the Iron Bank, and someone tries to rob me and says, like, and then how do I get my money back? It's all the way over across the sea. How do I? What do I do?
This is why it's brilliant, because they would grow your money. I mean, they could rob whatever property you have, or like you would get payments from the Iron Bank, because the Iron Bankers, they come out and they will give you money, your money that they've grown, but your vast fortune is within the bank. And Bravos is like, historically, you cannot attack it. It is like very well protected. It hasn't been sieged. I mean, I was reading World of Ice and Fire, and there was no famous sieges. It was the hidden city for a reason.
Yeah, they didn't know
It's
it
the
was there.
Switzerland of.
It's why the Iron Bank exists there. So yeah, they could rob me of whatever possessions I have bought with, but then I could always, and they're not going to take me to Bravos, because you can't fuck with the Bravosi, especially the Iron Bank. They would in a second, they would kill you. So I don't know. It's just, it makes sense.
Capitalism, drunk whoring dwarf.
Yes.
And he makes bad decisions. Like Tyrion makes bad decisions for himself all the time because he's a good man and an ethical
Bronn.
person.
Good negotiator.
See, here's
Good
my issue.
capitalist.
Here's my
Is
issue.
he?
Is
Is
Morgan?
he?
You didn't pick a character, and I know you ended up
I'm
picking
gonna
for
say
like
that one guy. I said
Yeah.
any. Give me any of them. Give me the worst one.
the worst Iron Banker.
The
That's who you're
worst Iron
trusting.
Banker. Oh,
Okay.
over a drunken, deeply traumatized man who murdered a woman, or a sellsword who constantly is saying, "Hi, I'll sell you out. Or I'll sell you out. Don't forget, I'll sell you out."
I would just
and
like to
also
point
watch
out
me.
that the current
Sell-
richest man in the world is a drunken, traumatized man who traumatizes women.
Well, if we're going by show,
Okay.
Casterly Rock's gold is gone. It's actually Bronn, but only because he claimed it after the war, and also bad writing.
It's all the
season
gold.
8.
He's the master of coins.
I mean, we're just gonna
He
go
is the master.
yeah.
Literally, that is his
That
title.
Bronn Highgarden literally makes no
He is
sense, but
the
hey, it
coin
is what it
master.
is.
This was a great debate. I do have to cut it. I didn't want to give this person the point, but I do think that this person made the best argument. Morgan, I think, wins this one again. I think it is your money is the most safe, no matter what. With Tyrion, yes, I would trust him the most of the three characters. If you're gonna pick Sherlock's brother, Tyrion, or Bronn, I would definitely trust Tyrion the most. But the problem is Tyrion has a lot of baggage. He really does. So, and David was right. David made a great argument that when he had the chance to to do something against Danny at the end, he didn't do it. He kind of sat on his hands. So, all right, Morgan wins the point again. All right, so we're moving over to the speed round. Dave,
You skunked me, Jeff.
I did. I skunked you. I was trying to hear you out with Braun, but they cut you down hard. Like, you
No.
did.
I also apologize. I'll argue with a tree, so I'm not nothing personal. I'm just
No,
you get me
that's what-
arguing.
That's what makes you perfect for the show, Morgan. Like,
I
this
never
is-
did debate because I would be a monster.
You very much are. You're devouring both Justin and Dave, and this is phenomenal to watch. Honestly,
I hate it. I
No.
like collaborating, not conflict.
It could be 5-1 right now. Like that's how. Like it was the other one. The
Should be
Justin one
6-0.
was close. Yes, it should be. It could be 6-0.
I think I have pretty good arguments.
Okay, so we're gonna move over to the speed
You did,
round.
Dave.
We're
You did.
same categories, but you basically get an either or you have to come up with kind of like sometimes you have to come up with the answer, but it's one side or another. Okay, so Chris, do you have them loaded?
I
ready to
have
go?
them. I have them prepared to go. Please allow Jeff to finish reading the question before announcing your answer.
Okay, Great.
And with
thank
that,
you, Chris. Okay, movies speed round. Question 1: A Song of Ice and Fire has been greenlit as an animated film. Which studio would do it best? Studio Ghibli or Pixar Animation Studios? Now you have to
Ghibli.
pick one.
Oh.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yep,
Ghibli.
Okay, so Pixar, Justin, you must argue for Pixar. The person who picks first usually has to go first. So Morgan, you have to go first.
I mean, it's just it would be it'd have to be like a very Pixar's too cute. And I feel like Ghibli can be scary, it can be beautiful, it can be romantic, it can be dark. You need to have like layers, and I know Pixar can do all that, but it's they're marketing to children, and maybe you want to market to children, but that's not. I read Song of Ice and Fire because it fucks, so I need a little bit of like darkness in there with the gorgeous beauty, and that's
Okay.
basically my argument.
Justin, go ahead.
Well, I think it would definitely be outside of Pixar's comfort zone. I think that if they decided to really lean into it, the emotional range and depth of Pixar movies would lend itself well to the Game of Thrones universe. Character development is really done well in a Pixar movie for the length and the audience that they're done already. The animation is 100% cutting edge. It's always a spectacle. You can scale it much easier than hand animation. It has more of a broad audience appeal. I myself, this is going to get me some heat, not a big anime fan. That's just a personal thing. They're great stories, just not my aesthetic style.
rebuttal.
Okay, 15-minute rebuttal, 15-second.
50 minutes.
50
give
minutes,
me
you
all,
go.
I don't need all day. No, because Pixar, it's, again, with the marketing, they know where their money is. I just feel like they try to market it to, we're going to do Song of Ice and Fire, but like family friendly, and it just wouldn't work. And they would give all the
Rebuttal.
lady characters like juicy dumpers, and everybody would be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Justin, go ahead.
Absolutely, it definitely has the possibility to go that way, but I think if they had the right person at the helm for this movie and had Pixar's animation talent, but not necessarily their style, they would have to definitely change their trademark style for this movie if they were going to do it, because it couldn't be the family-friendly version that everyone's used to.
Okay,
And
I
that-
think that's it, and I think Morgan wins this point. I think she made better arguments for Ghibli. I think the darkness of Ghibli, and it's hard to translate it to Pixar with the family friendly. I just don't think it would work. So
Even if they went really dark with Pixar, it would still look too cartoony. That's how I really feel about that.
Okay, moving on to TV. Okay, not including Jon Snow, which Stark had the best story arc on the TV show? I mean, you can pick anybody: Ned, Catelyn, Robb, Sansa, Arya, Bran, Lyanna, Benjen, anyone you want.
Ned.
Okay, go ahead, Justin.
Ned Stark, because he only had to suffer through one season of the D's writing and didn't have to stick around for the catastrophe that shit show turned into.
Is that it?
That's it.
All
Okay.
right, Morgan, you can steal this time if you want.
Oh, I mean, do I have to pick a character? I have to say not Ned.
Not Ned. Anyone but
Not
Ned.
Ned,
Any
anyone
Stark.
but Ned.
I would say Benjen Stark, just because that actually there was a time where they wanted to actually explore what we're interested in Song of Ice and Fire, which is the gray undead, the undead that are not slaves to the Night King. They played around with that character, and that character showed up, gave Jon Snow to the Night's Watch. We got to know who he was, and at the end, he saved him so that the prophecy could happen, and then he died a hero's death. I think if we're talking about show, Ned had the best book arc that was on the show. But like I'm saying show, if we're talking about the show, he was the only one where there was a time where they were going to actually explore.
Rebuttal.
Justin?
My rebuttal is that Benjen was a plot device more than he was a character, especially in the show. I do agree they did him dirty as opposed to the books. He was just used as, oh, look, this is my uncle who's disappeared. And then they brought him back to return John.
Rebuttal.
Morgan?
I would say no. In the books, we actually are still unclear of who, what, or where Benjen is. It's a little bit of a mystery. It has not actually been. The girls who know, but they decided that yes, the character in the books that you suspect is Benjen, the show was like it is Benjen, and I find that the show was the only time that they actually wanted to explore that magical side of the Song of Ice and Fire. And there was a time, if they had more seasons, we could get there.
Okay, that's it. Okay. I think at this point, I'm going to give to Justin, and I'll explain why. I think, Justin, it was short and sweet, and it wasn't a lot of argument, but I do think he's right that Ned's arc, it's short, but it's the most memorable. You still, like, seasons later, you're still thinking about Ned. The Benjen stuff, when it happened on the show, I loved it. I thought it was so cool. But I don't think he's the first Stark you think of. I don't think he's start to finish. He's not on the show enough. And if he were, I think he would have been. I think he would have had the best arc.
If I was still going to read George's books, which I won't be, he is the character that I am most interested in seeing more of.
You should check them out. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm supposed to argue against Ned Stark.
It's just,
Yeah.
it was the most
like
impactful
anything.
thing on the show.
Yes.
I was like, anything that's like directly from the books, I'm like, yeah, it's just better.
Yeah. Okay, moving over to music. Okay. You can only listen to one of these artists after taking the black for the rest of your life. Ed Sheeran or Coldplay. Both make cameos on the TV show.
You can have first pick on that one.
Coldplay, because I love walking through a Target.
Okay. Morgan, go ahead. Why Coldplay if you have to listen to it the rest of your life?
And then I take the black. Wait, I'm
Yes.
listening to it, then immediately taking the black. I mean, if I was locked in a room and had to listen to Coldplay, yes, that would do it. I'd go take the black. Honestly, either
That's
one.
Snoopy's choice.
But yeah, I guess do I have to listen to the whole discography? I mean, it's like there's some like pop songs. Like
I didn't say you
get
have to.
poppy.
You don't have to. It's the only choice you have of music.
And why? So I am listening to it on the ride up to the wall. There's a
No,
CD
while
of Ed
while
Sheeran.
you have the black, your the rest of your rest of life you have the black. The only music you listen to is either Coldplay or Ed Sheeran
At the wall.
at the wall.
Oh, okay. You know what, Coldplay, because it has a bigger instrumentation. You can use some of their like their big epic sounding songs that are like poppy. I think the wall does need a little bit of wonder. They have enough crooners up there, like they have a bunch of like imprisoned bards who pissed off a king or something, and are like they have.
I'm gonna pause you there, Morgan, because
Okay.
technically we gotta switch to Justin for this
All
time.
right,
to give
Justin,
Cole
go
for
ahead.
rebuttal.
Why Ed Sheeran?
I could have picked either one of them because as soon as I get to the wall, if those are my choices, I'm taking some dragon glass and stabbing it in both ears, and I'm going to learn sign language.
I mean, I would just argue that Ed Sheeran, they have that. They have 5 Ed Sheerans. It's like bards are always pissing off royalty or the aristocracy. So they have so many men who can like strum a thing and sing. They don't have a we're playing Coldplay. This is like big, like large noises, wondrous.
Rebuttal.
I would stab myself in the ears, and then I would think about that awesome sea shanty festival that I went to on the Iron Islands, and just play those over and over in my head while I tried to forget about the salt life part.
I would use Coldplay to terrify wildlings away as well, because they'd be like, "Where are those? Where is these mysterious, gigantic? Why are there's like?" Then also it's singing over and over again, and it's the same every time. How can that be? This can't be a
Guys did
live
that
band.
one
It'd be
time.
magic.
Okay, I have to decide between both those arguments. It sounds like you guys would rather take the black than listen to either of these bands.
Coldplay has like it's not my cup of tea. It's not for me. And Ed Sheeran, not for me. I'm not like they got some stuff they can. I don't like to like totally shit on everybody's shit, but just not for me.
They're not untalented. They're just not what I would choose to ever put on the radio. I wouldn't. I maybe wouldn't change the channel.
I don't know. Being at the top of the wall and that do of clocks.
I don't know.
See that.
You're sitting there and you're looking out over the north and you're going, it's all yellow. I can't even think of an Ed Sheeran song off the top of my head. So
honestly, same. But I saw him sing on the show, so that's what makes me believe they already have an Ed Sheeran.
Yes, they probably do. He's from Casterly Rock. Okay, I have to give this point to Morgan because at least she argued for Coldplay. Justin did not argue for Ed Sheeran, so I have to give her the
I'd
point.
rather die.
I think if
I
you
will
actually wanted to
concede
keep
that.
wildlings away, Coldplay would be the choice.
Oh, yeah, I
It's
would-
scary because it's big
Yeah.
sound.
I think stabbing myself in the ears might defeat the purpose of being
Right.
on watch.
I was wondering what is worse, taking the black or listening to these two artists, and you guys proved to me listening to these two artists is definitely the worst.
Listen,
Ed
Coldplay has
Sheeran,
its
I'm sorry
moments.
if you're watching this.
Me too. I like Ed Sheeran as an artist, but yeah.
No, if Ed Sheeran showed up and sang a song at me, I'd probably be like, "Oh my God, you're so talented!" But you know, we're spoiled. We're spoiled. We have recorded music.
Right.
We get all of the music and all the music history. So
Okay, moving over to the sports question. All right. Okay, sports. Who's winning a boat race and how between these two houses? House Greyjoy and House Valerian.
Greyjoy.
Okay, so Justin, you have to argue for Valerian. Morgan, you're on the clock.
I think House Valerian is known for its shipping fleets. Its main thing is shipping and merchants and like going to other places, getting riches and bringing it back. Ironborn are reaping and raping, which means you got to get in quick and you got to get out quick. Their shit is built for speed, not for the Valarians can run away and they can do battle, but they're mainly trying to get to somewhere and somewhere back with a lot of goods. Their ships are not, we're doing some shit so we have to get out quick. Ironborn, all of their ships are like, we better run after
Okay.
we pull what we're gonna pull.
Justin, go ahead.
Okay. House Valerian.
Oh,
This one's going to be a little tough. I don't remember too much about House Valerian, but I do remember that they do have a long-standing reputation of expert sea command. I know that their ship designs were quite unique. They are very cunning and strategy, whereas the Greyjoys are more rape and pillage. They have more pride and motivation than the Greyjoys. I think the Greyjoys, you could probably psych them out by...
Rebuttal.
Morgan?
I don't know, but again, they're cooperative and they're steady because they're a house. They like follow rules and regulations. A Greyjoy's gonna like freaking bite your ankle and jump in the boat and then take off. They'll use tricks. If it's just
Rebuttal.
a race.
Okay, I think this is actually going to come down to where this boat race is actually taking place. If it's taking place near the Iron Islands, I think the Greyjoys are going to be able to take it. If it's taking place, somewhere like Blackwater Bay, I think the Valerians are going to definitely take that. So I think it's going to come down to familiarity with the terrain.
the Greyjoys, their whole thing is reaping and raving, strange lands, strange shores of the Seven Kingdoms. They've tried to reap and rave every single one. It's kind of their whole deal is preparing for the unpredictable.
Okay.
They're experts at it.
I have to call it. I have to give this one to Morgan. Like she argued with her knowledge of the Greyjoys very, very well.
In your defense, Justin, like I think you didn't watch House of the Dragon, maybe.
I have not seen House of the Dragon, and
that could be a handicap. The Valyrians exist during Game of Thrones, but I don't remember the show having anything.
No, it's only through friends of friends do I know what House Valyria and the fact that they are seafarers and their ships look super neat.
Yeah, but I do buy that argument that the Greyjoys would have faster ships because that's kind of what their thing is.
The raiding, right?
The raiding, yeah.
In and out.
We're doing some fuck shit, so we better have the getaway car like gassed up and all the tires inflated.
So that's it, right, Chris?
With that, our episode winner is Morgan Drace.
We bow to you. We
Hats
bend
off
the
to
knee.
you.
And the knee. We do not bend.
Queen on the Iron Throne.
Yes.
Mother of debates.
No, thanks for doing it, Morgan and Justin and Dave. Morgan, you were a fantastic debater. You really cut these guys down at the knees almost every single time.
I hate it. I'm like, this is okay. Thank you for having me. This is really fun. But I'm like, this is why I don't like debate because sometimes like I don't even believe in the opinion that I'm arguing. This is why I would never be like in politics as a spin master because I simply be too powerful. I'd be a monster. I never got into debate because I would just be a monster, and I don't like that.
You were
no good.
You were a
You
monster.
were a
Doesn't feel
monster.
good.
You were like a monster in the My Pet Monster way, where you just took names and kicked ass.
I
Chris,
apologize.
Chris, how was it from behind the scenes watching these debates?
My jaw is still being picked up off the floor. That was impressive. Morgan, you came in fists of fury and left bodies on the floor and a butt bitter ash with your dragon-like fury.
I watched Dustin's and like his Achilles heel is his agreeability. He's just, and I'm like, okay, so they want you to fight. Okay, I can do that. Because
Thanks for rebranding the owner of your house.
I'll be streaming with a Sean tank top over on our YouTube channel, and like sometimes I'll double down on an opinion I don't even believe in just because it's fun, and he hates it, but he loves it.
I think we should get Dustin my wife's contact information, and they can commiserate.
Oh, I see Dustin in the comments.
He's like,
yeah.
imagine
My
being married
wife
to you.
joke.
I couldn't argue against a point during the cryptozoology debate, so I attacked the fact that chess wasn't a sport, which I definitely do not support the argument that I was making. But yeah, no, that is where I will go. I am willing to say just about anything if I have the knowledge to back it up.
No, I thank you, Justin, for coming in at the very last moment to swing your sellsword and swing it valiantly. You did, coming in second place in today's contestant. And Dave,
I'm just gonna take out this hand of the king pin and throw it in the trash.
Chris has just been sending me. Chris has just been sending me laugh emojis this whole time on Facebook. I don't know what that's about.
I was like, you got to put me in this, Murphy. I so know about Song of Ice and Fire, but I'm not so sure anymore.
yeah,
Well, I mean, it's
he
kind
waved
of
the
hard
banner.
because, yeah, like it's hard when you're like super into the Song of Ice and Fire books. And I will rewatch the show occasionally, but I get a little mixed up sometimes. What's the show and what's the book? But I'm like, I'd asked when you asked me to join this. I'm like, does this do book stuff too? I can use that. So that's where I was at.
Chris knows I've been scrambling.
Well, with that, I want to say thanks to our host, Jeff Mader, one of the original OGs of Trivial Debate, coming in to bring some very hard-hitting questions and excellent judging.
This one does not like me.
Which
The
one
older
is
brother
the second
disagrees.
son?
He's the third son.
Oh, so there's all types of second and third. There's complexes.
yeah.
Who's the firstborn child? He's the one
I am
somewhere.
the firstborn. I got
Oh,
no
you
respect
are.
today.
Yeah, he's
I'm supposed to be the
So
heir
he
to the
has
throne.
to take you down. You're gonna inherit the kingdom.
Right.
That's right. I'm the Recast Stark of.
Yeah, you're the Benjen Stark of this group.
So yeah, with that, it was an excellent episode. We'll say our quick goodbyes. Morgan, where can people find you at?
Over on YouTube, we do a little channel, Watchers in the Bar, Sean Tank Top. I think it's at Sean Tank Top, and then the thing is called Watchers in the Bar. We don't just do Song of Ice and Fire and bar reactions. We watch all types of shows. I watch anime. We watch what else? What do we watch? We watch HBO shows. We watch anime. We watch Avatar: The Last Airbender is where we built our actual Patreon on. So we do have a Patreon, but we have free shit over on YouTube at Sean Take Top. And then I'm all over. If you go there, you'll find me.
As a Patreon subscriber, I can say it's worth the content.
You are? Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Thank you.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I want to say you provide great content and enjoying the Cowboy Bebop rewatch.
Oh my god, I can't believe I missed Cowboy Bebop because I was like, I love that show. That's
so good.
Beautiful.
With that, Justin, where can the people find you?
I mean, I don't know who's looking for me, but if you're looking, you can find me on Instagram I think it's at Justin Velociraptor.
Yes.
To be honest with you, I don't really do a whole lot of social media, so I don't know all that much. I'm definitely going to be checking out Morgan's stuff. I'm going to watch some of Dave's old stuff so I can see how he does on questions that are properly. And I just want to give a shout out to all my homies in the Waffle House parking lot. This has been great. Thanks for having me again.
Oh, you're welcome, sir. Thank you for taking part and jumping in last minute. And you've always got a warm, open seat here on Trivial Debates, as well as you, Morgan. You did amazing. If you want to light it up, Dave, where can the people find you?
You can find me in previous episodes of Trivial Debates where I've definitely won rounds before. And I've definitely been proven I've won an argument once or twice, but not maybe when Jeff's hosting, it's a whole different story. But beyond that, you can find me on Live Long and Podcast, our Star Trek channel, where we're doing all kinds of Star Trek reviews and discussions and fun little things. Every Monday night, we're doing the Orville, going through episodes of the Orville. We've been doing Star Trek: The Next Generation every Tuesday night. We're still in the first season there. And we cover all the new shows like Prodigy and Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks when they hit, and we do all kinds of other fun things. So check out Live Long and Podcast if you're into Star Trek. You can find me personally at Super Dave Mater on various platforms, and what else? I guess the Super Mater Brothers podcast as well with Jeff, where we're talking about Survivor and Big Brother. Right now, Big Brother 26. We're doing every Thursday night. When each time there's an eviction, I guess Survivor starting up in a couple weeks, Jeff.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Looking for that.
Jeff, what the final word for you, sir?
Okay, well, it was a pleasure listening to the debates. It was great to meet Morgan and Justin for the first time. I hope to be on another podcast with you again in the future, and I'll just say, good night, and thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff. You're an excellent host. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is another episode of Trivial Debates, where no matter your expertise, if it's your favorite thing and you want to debate it, you're welcome in on this show. We're always here to have some fun. And if you want to find more shows of fun, you can find them here at the United Federation Podcast. So I'll leave you with this outro. And until next episode, which is something I completely forgot, but stay tuned, subscribe, and you'll find out.
For the realm.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on Trivial Debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.